And First Lady Phil and Carrie Oldham here at the front table. You'll hear from President Oldham in a little while. We have Vice President of Advancement, Mark Hutchins. Interim Vice President for Academic Affairs and Provost, Mark Stevens. And at her last event as a tech employee, Vice President of Regional Programs and Dean of Interdisciplinary and Studies and Extended Ed, Susan Elkins. You will be missed. Dean of Agricultural and Human Sciences, Pat Bagley. Where's Pat? Yeah. Dean of Arts and Sciences, Paul Sims. Dean of the College of Business, James Jordan Wagner. Dean of Education, Matt Smith. Dean of Engineering, Joe Rensis. And Athletics Director, Mark Wilson. We have two Presidents Emeriti with us this evening, Bob Bell and his wife Gloria, and Angelo Volpe and his wife Jeanette. Development staff, and I'll just call your name and wave if you would. Jim Brock, Kristen Wells, Cheryl Montgomery, Tracy Russell, Kevin Bostian, Tiff Rector, and John Smith. I have a couple special introductions. It's very difficult for me as an individual to make decisions and plan for over 60,000 alumni. So I have a very special but great group of Alumni Advisory Board members. And I have two of those here with me tonight. Lynn McSpadden. Lynn. Oh, I'm sorry, I have three. Bedelia Russell. And Randy Wilmore. And finally, I would like to introduce our past Alumni Award recipients joining us this evening. Lim and Donna McSpadden received the award in 2005. Yep. Bobby and Jean Davis in 1998. Jeff Bowles in 1994. Jim and Barbara Fleming in 1995. Martin Medley in 1990. And Noble Cody in 1981. And now I'd like to introduce Steve Fry, Assistant Professor in the College of Interdisciplinary Studies, to do our invocation.
Let's pray together. Our God, we thank you for this time and this place. Time around the table, time with friends. We thank you for this family that we are as Tennessee Tech. We thank you for the people that we celebrate tonight who have meant so much to this family. We thank you for the many, many gifts we enjoy. This food is just part of it. And I pray that our lives would be an expression of that gratitude in everything we do. Thank you for always hearing our prayers. Amen.
And as I always do, I forget someone, and I forgot a member of our development staff, Christy Phillips, who's also the daughter of one of our honorees tonight. And did I forget any other alumni award winners? Okay, great. All right, well, let's enjoy dinner. As well, so we'd like to thank those students. And now I'd like to introduce President Phil Oldham to tell you a little bit about what's going on at Tennessee Tech.
Well, thank you, Tracy, and thank all of you for being with us tonight. What a wonderful evening. I want to thank our musicians, and what a great meal Chartwell's provided for us tonight. Please join me in thanking both of these folks. Before I give a few remarks, I'd also like to take this opportunity to embarrass a colleague, Dr. Susan Elkins. We'll have more opportunities to say goodbye before she gets away, but this is a good opportunity to do that. We certainly wish her well and Godspeed, and represent us well as the first chancellor of Palmetto College with the University of South Carolina. Susan, congratulations and good wishes. Well, this is my first time, obviously, attending the Alumni Awards Banquet, and I'm honored to be a part of this celebration. Alumni gatherings, by nature, bring a flood of memories to mind for all of us, and tonight I'm mindful of my own father, who graduated from Tennessee Polytechnic Institute in 1953 while working as a full-time minister in Gainesboro. I often imagine his steps walking across this very same campus that I serve today, and the same one that you all hold so dear. Many of you grew up in this region and always knew that you would go to Tennessee Tech. I'm told that Mike Lane told us that Tennessee Tech is the only university he even applied to. I appreciate the legacy of Tennessee Tech, and I'm certainly excited about its future. But before I go any further, I want to congratulate all the distinguished award winners here tonight. We thank you for representing this university with your honor, your hard work, high achievement, and loyalty. Some of you serve on other award selection committees for Tech, like Otis Phillips, who said these decisions are so tough because there are so many deserving individuals. Alumni awards are a testament to the quality product Tech is putting out. Always has and will do long into the future. Tech is clearly doing something right to turn out these people who represent Tech so well. I say fairly often that we're in a very unusual business. It's the only one I'm aware of where the customer and the product are the same thing. Students come in the front door as customers and they leave as alumni and products, and we have a great product at Tennessee Tech. Thomas Edison once said, "Opportunity is missed by most people because it is dressed in overalls and looks like work." All of you whom we honor tonight not only recognized opportunity, but you also seized it, or in Lois Groom's case, tackled it with great enthusiasm and often with significant risk. You were not constrained by fear of failure or lack of effort. Jimmy Mackey took out his first loan to buy a startup grocery delivery business. I'm sure for a young man with a family, that was a risk. The university will do well to follow such courageous examples. We should be willing to take calculated and thoughtfully considered risks to create new paths forward. I also want to briefly introduce you to a concept that you'll be hearing more about in the near future that will lead your university on a new path. Over the past 3 months, a select and dedicated group at the university has been working to identify Tennessee Tech's current competitive position within higher education marketplace. They started with some basic questions. Where is Tennessee Tech today in the marketplace? Who are we competing with and against? Where are the gaps in our competitiveness? Where are our greatest opportunities? How do we move forward? The results of this assessment uncovered strengths, challenges, and key differentiators that define Tennessee Tech. So just a few days ago, we introduced Flight Plan Focused for the Future, for the full consideration of the entire Tennessee Tech family. In fact, you have some little cards at your tables right now. I'd appreciate it if you'd take one. It has a website link on there. When you have a chance, please visit the website and give us your comments. Tell us what you think. Within Flight Plan, you will find recommendations for a set of comparative peer institutions, primary metrics to track our relative position, and any current competitive gaps. You will also find the strategic priorities that we are considering across 4 focus areas, namely to improve undergraduate student experiences, transform technology, create distinctive programs and invigorate faculty, and expand financial resources and modernize infrastructure. This is our opportunity to dream big dreams for what the future Tennessee Tech can be and how each of us can play a significant part in making those dreams come true. Success in this effort will not only be driven by the committee's work, but by input from the community at large, and that's where you come in. Please give us your feedback. As engaged alumni, we want your feedback. You have perspectives that will be valuable to us as we move forward. Being new to campus, my wife Carrie and I have truly appreciated the warm welcome we have received from Tech alumni. Your knowledge and passion for Tech are energizing. Chris Provon and his wife Karen have dedicated hours on the strategic planning team for the College of Engineering. When we need advice and guidance and support, we turn to our awesome alumni, and you are always ready and willing to help. At the rim of the Grand Canyon, a quote from Teddy Roosevelt is captured on a plaque. It reads, "The ages have been at work on this Grand Canyon, and man can only mar it. What you can do is keep it up for your children, your children's children, and all who come after you." I am so proud of Tennessee Tech alumni who are changing the world. Katie Cartwright bandaging and teaching refugee children in Uganda, Judy Grooms leading the state of Louisiana in K-12 education, and Dr. Lamar Parker leading clinical research in women's health. But they all call Tennessee Tech home. I thank all of you who so vocally acknowledge Tech's role in your success and who play a part in making Tennessee Tech University better for all who come after you. Thank you for being here tonight. Congratulations to all the award winners, and as always, go Eagles.
And now to serve as MC for the rest of our evening is alumnus Bob Luna, who's an 82 speech graduate and a member of the Arts and Sciences Board of Visitors. For any of you who've attended Tennessee Tech football games, you may think his voice sounds familiar, and that's because he's the voice of the Golden Eagle Marching Band! Bob Luna.
Thank you, Tracy. You know, I had at least 2 people tell me, now, you need to tone it down just a little bit tonight. The band is not here, but I still want you to be just a little enthusiastic about our distinguished alumni. And I'm going to try to do that. John Adams once said, there are 2 educations. One should teach us how to make a living, and the other how to live. And all of our distinguished graduates tonight have certainly fulfilled what our second president set them out to do. Outstanding Alumnus of the Year awards are given to Tennessee Tech alumni who have demonstrated professional excellence by achieving success and recognition such as to affect great pride among the faculty, students, and other alumni of our university. Recipients are generally highly regarded scholars, writers, entertainers, business executives, scientists, politicians, athletes, and persons of comparable stature who clearly exemplify the excellence to which this university is so deeply committed. Alumni awards have been given by the Alumni Association since 1975. In 2008, the Alumni Association expanded these awards to include 1 alumnus per year per college. This year marks the first year that the Department of Athletics will also have an honoree. All award recipients' names can be found on our alumni website at www.ttualumni.org. And now we're ready for the 2013 Outstanding Alumni of the Year. We're going to begin with the College of Agriculture and Human Sciences. And our honoree tonight is Katie Cartwright. Fewer than 2 years after graduating from Tech, Katie has provided free medical treatment to thousands of street children in Kampala, Uganda, and has started a nonprofit organization to help the children who age out of the country's orphanages and government assistance programs. She earned her bachelor's degree in nursing in May of 2011 and passed the state certification exam to become a registered nurse in September of 11. She and a friend left for Africa to serve a 6-month assignment with the Abana charity. And with help from Tennessee Tech friends and the emergency room staff at Cumberland Medical Center, Cartwright collected medical supplies such as bandages and children's Tylenol and raised money to support her commitment. With hundreds of thousands of refugee children in Kampala, Cartwright sometimes treated more than 200 children a day on tables on the capital city streets. She cleaned and treated a lot of infectious wounds and saw many children with malaria and high fevers. Anything I saw out of my scope, I took them to the local hospital and paid for the treatment out of the funds that we had raised. About $500 altogether, Cartwright said. As soon as I got there, Uganda felt like home. I loved working at the hospital, but I really felt out of place. My element is working in a dirt field, and I felt a greater need to help these children. About 5 months of working on the streets, Cartwright started praying about making a long-term commitment in Uganda. She founded Doors Ministries, which offers housing to 10 boys and operates a primary school for about 65 children. Cartwright is the school nurse, and she uses that position to educate students' families on healthy habits and medical care. Nursing school prepared me to actually care for another human, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually. Besides that, they taught me how to think. If I can't find a cure, I think about how I can educate them or help them find the resources or find medical help. Cartwright completed her senior management clinicals at the Cumberland Medical Center in Crossville. She is the daughter of Jim and Janice Cartwright, and she's a graduate of White House High School. May I introduce Katie Cartwright.
I think it was my professor, and she emailed me while I was still in Uganda. And forgive me if I get a little emotional because I miss my family very much. And I wish that my Ugandan family was here because they're the ones that deserve this very heavy award. Because I went to Uganda because I thought that I had a skill that could affect children and that could give them medical treatment. And that is what happened, but more than anything, these children educated me. Educated me on what is really important in life. Educated me on how to love. And there are many times when I had no clue what to do. He made it sound very good, but there are many days where I am completely overwhelmed. And I look down at my medical supplies and I have no idea. And there's been many times where a child would come up to me and they would pray with me. And they would help me figure out what to do. Because they're the ones that care for one another. And so I just, thank you for thinking of us. But I have much fear and trembling right now because there's a lot of people looking at me. And so, above everything, the whole reason I went to Uganda, the whole reason I went to nursing school, was because of Jesus Christ and his call on my life, not just to give Band-Aids or children's Tylenol, but to preach the gospel. And so just thank you, and I thank God for this amazing honor and award, and I thank Tennessee Tech for broadening my horizon, and I'll never forget it. Thank you.
The College of Arts and Sciences, Dr. Lamar Parker, class of 1978. Chemistry graduate, by the way. Dr. Parker graduated magna cum laude with a bachelor's degree in chemistry and biology in 1978. He graduated from Wake Forest University School of Medicine in 1982 and completed his obstetric and gynecologic residency training at Wake Forest University Baptist Medical Center in 1986. Now with Lyndhurst Gynecological Associates in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Dr. Parker's interests include infertility, obstetric and gynecological ultrasound, and minimally invasive laparoscopic surgery. He has served as principal investigator on more than 100 clinical trials in women's health. Parker credits Tennessee Tech professor Eugene Klein for instilling an investigative thought processes into his students, and he recognizes Dr. Klein's influence on his venture into clinical research. I was already interested in medicine when I enrolled at Tech, but didn't realize at the time what a wonderful chemistry department our university had. It was a diamond hidden in the midst of an engineering school. The classes were a good size and small enough that you could communicate with your professors, Parker said. Parker is a fellow of the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists and an assistant clinical professor in the departments of obstetrics and gynecology and obstetrical anesthesia at the Wake Forest University School of Medicine. He's also a longtime member of the Tennessee Tech College of Arts and Sciences Board of Visitors. He serves on the Wake Forest University Wesley Foundation Board, and he donates his time to the Winston-Salem Community Care Clinic established for indigent care. He is married to Tennessee Tech alumna Marilyn Anderson Parker, a 1978 early childhood and elementary education graduate. The Parkers have 4 children, Nick, Anderson, Grace, and Seth. May I introduce Dr. Lamar Parker.
She's right, it's heavy. Oh, gosh. The wonderful things that we all get from Tennessee Tech over time are the small things. Simple things such as opportunities that we get as students to be a resident advisor, to participate in different activities around the college, cheerleading, wrestling, opportunities to talk with your professors who continue to remember your name, which is pretty important to me. I'm terrible with names, so I was impressed. And so I always just wanted to think about the good things that I learned from Tennessee Tech, the positive influences that have made a difference over time. And I appreciate the award. Thank you.
Department of Athletics, Otis Phillips. I had to do that for Otis, yeah. Years after being a student athlete, Otis Phillips knows the true rewards of college athletics, meeting teammates who become lifelong friends and promoting the university to future students. Phillips, president and owner of SEC Enterprises, Inc., lettered in football for 4 years at Tennessee Tech and was president of the Tech Letterman's Club his senior year. He has supported the Golden Eagle football program for almost 3 decades and attends as many football games as possible. His company is a major sponsor of the Tennessee Tech Football Alumni Golf Tournament and the Tony Stone Barbecue Dinner held each July. In recent years, he's traveled to cheer on the Golden Eagles against Auburn, TCU, Louisville, Georgia, and Oregon. You can't buy that kind of exposure, Phillips said. A good athletics program raises the school's visibility, and you get people interested in the university who otherwise were not familiar with Tennessee Tech. Phillips also helps lead local efforts to attract students to Tech by first chairing and now serving on the committee to bring the TSSAA High School Football Championships to Cookeville. The games bring approximately 45,000 visitors to our campus each year, and about a dozen student athletes have signed with Tech after playing in the championship game. He has also played an integral part in the formation of the Cookeville-Putnam County Sports Council and is past chair of the Convention and Visitors Bureau. Otis has a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering and a master's of business administration from Tennessee Tech. After starting his career as an engineer with Fleet Guard in Cookeville, a division of Cummins Engines, Phillips found he was more interested in what the other guy was doing in sales and operations. His first job in beer distribution came in 1980 when he joined Coors of the Cumberland in Nashville. For the next decade, he worked in sales, project management, and marketing across Texas and Colorado. And in 1990, Phillips returned to his hometown of Cookeville as general manager of SEC Enterprises, and he bought the business from owner Harold Evans in 1995. Otis is the chairman of the board of the Cookeville-Putnam County Chamber of Commerce. He is treasurer of the Tennessee Malt Beverage Association, and he serves on the selection committee of the Tennessee Tech Sports Hall of Fame. SEC Enterprises supports community organizations such as WCTE, Genesis House, Cityscape, the Cookeville Children's Museum, the Home Builders Association, and the Cavalier Athletic Foundation, and the JCs. He and his wife Cindy have 5 children: Christy, Beth, Parker, Emily, and Hunter. 3 grandchildren are Caden, Leah, and Jack. May I introduce Otis Phillips.
Oh, good evening. I apologize. I'm not as astute as some of the other people, so I'm going to have to read a few comments if you don't mind. But how do you do that, Bob? Jeez, the delivery. This guy's, anybody hates to follow Bob Luna on a program. First, I'd like to congratulate my fellow recipients tonight. I'm certainly honored and humbled to be here in such an outstanding group. Gosh, Amy, that was a wonderful story. I mean, it's humbling to be with such great company, and I really appreciate this honor, and I'm just overwhelmed by being in such a great group, and especially being the inaugural nominee or for the athletic department as well. I want to thank all the friends and acquaintances that have come out on this warm summer night to be with us. We really appreciate everybody coming out and supporting this function and honoring all these dignitaries that we have here in this wonderful group of the nominees. You know, I don't think the relevance of this award really sank in until I started getting some really nice congratulatory notes and phone calls from other alumni. And some of you are here tonight, and I just want to express my appreciation and how much that meant and how special that was to get those congratulatory notes and those warm comments from so many people. I consider myself to be extremely fortunate to have been here at the university at the time that I was here. It's a very special time, but really not much unlike today. The time that I was here, we had a strong university leadership. We had a growing campus and student population. We had a special coaching staff, and we had some incredible athletes. The there were no less than 12 players that came through for the 4 years that I was here playing football that went on and played either in the NFL, the World Football League, or the Canadian Football League. Judy Groom's husband, Elois, was one of those. Elois was 6'5", 235 pounds, and ran like a deer. He was a defensive lineman. Elois is a great person, and went on and had a wonderful career with the New Orleans Saints and the Cardinals. But he was typical. You had Jim Youngblood and Larry Schreiber and Mike Hennigan. We just had a wonderful group of outstanding athletes during that period. My senior year, we won 10 football games. We won the Ohio Valley Conference, and we went and competed with Louisiana Tech in the Grattan Rice Bowl. It was a wonderful year. It was a wonderful experience for me, and I really, really appreciate having that opportunity to be here at that time and have that experience with some great players and coaches. I want to express my sincere appreciation to the university, to the athletics department for this honor. And I want to thank Mark Wilson for his tireless work and all the things he's done for the athletic program to improve the quality of this program for the years that he's been here. I know of no one who has worked harder, more diligently to do what he has done. And Mark, I appreciate that, and we appreciate that. You see, I believe athletics can and does serve as a great tool for any university. As higher education continues to become more and more competitive, what better way to promote your university, generate school pride, exposure, and visibility? It's a window into the world. Whether you're hosting the high school football championships or you're traveling to Oregon to take on the #1 team in the country like Coach Brown did back in the fall, you can't pay for that kind of exposure, in my opinion. It's kind of like the Visa commercial. It's priceless. What modest career success that I've enjoyed, I owe largely to the preparation and the tools provided to me by this university. Whether it was the drive, determination, and exposure to adversity that I learned on the football field, whether it was the ability to solve problems and the technical skills I received in the engineering department, or whether it was the financial skills and the analysis that I got from the hours and hours of case study in the MBA program, Dr. Bell. All those things gave me an opportunity to walk in the door and work for 2 Fortune 500 companies. And then later in my career, gave me the confidence and the knowledge and the skill to be a successful entrepreneur. I cannot imagine my life without my Tennessee Tech experience. The lifelong friends that I have through athletics have been the glue that's kept me connected to this university. I've been blessed to be part of this community and to have the opportunity to serve with Tech and to give back just a little something. It's a great place to be. I'm so proud of this university. I want to thank you for this award again. I want to say good evening, and I want to say, go Eagles. Thank you. I hope I don't fumble this going back to my...
Oh, you got my notes. No, that's all right. College of Business Administration, Jimmy Mackey. When Jimmy Mackey left a cost accounting job in 1957 in Columbia, Tennessee, his supervisor told him he was making a huge mistake. It would never amount to anything. A year later, Mackey finished his second degree at Tennessee Tech when Joe Gibson approached his father to see if he knew of anyone who might be interested in buying half of the institutional wholesale company business. And he said, well, my son needs a job. Gibson delivered groceries from a distributor in Knoxville to schools, hospitals, and restaurants in Putnam County. Mackey had business management and accounting degrees from Tennessee Tech, and he had served 2 years in the United States Army. But he approached the idea of buying a business with some uncertainty. The move would mean incurring some debt and taking a risk. He took Gibson's ledgers to Lewis Johnson, then Dean of the Tennessee Tech School of Business, and asked his advice. Dean Johnson said, "It looks like you've got a good thing, but it sure looks like an awful hard lot of work ahead of you." Mackey said, "I wasn't afraid of hard work because I had a family to support." Now approaching 55 years at the helm of IWC, Mr. Mackey has done every job in the business, from cleaning the toilets to driving the delivery truck to managing the operations, and true to his career goal, accounting. He and his brother Leroy were co-owners for nearly 30 years. His sons, Bob and John, are part owners of the business now. Both are Tennessee Tech alumni. IWC employs many Tennessee Tech alumni, and Mr. Mackey said several employees have worked with him for between 30 and 40 years. Supporting community causes and Tennessee Tech is a happy obligation for him. The Mackeys support Tennessee Tech athletics, cancer research, Boy Scouts, and many other organizations. He and some locals who meet for breakfast at the Mini Burger raised funds to buy a large truck for Tennessee Tech athletics to haul their football equipment to the away games. IWC Cash and Carry is the presenting sponsor of the Watson Brown Show. I enjoy saying that. Yeah. A weekly call-in show for Golden Eagle football fans. Mr. Mackey says, "We don't do it to promote our business. I don't do it to get my name on a building," Mackey said. "I do it to help Tennessee Tech. And we do it for our community." Mr. Mackey has served on the Tennessee Tech College of Business Foundation since 1982 and has helped raise funds to renovate classrooms in Johnson Hall, named for his early career advisor, Lewis Johnson. Jimmy and Shirley Hargrove Mackey have been married since 1954. They recently bought a 56 Studebaker Hawk and are enjoying membership in the 1956 Studebaker Golden Hawk Owners Club. Being a part of the Frosty Acres brand purchasing co-op, they've had the opportunity to travel to several parts of the world. May I present Mr. Jimmy Mackey.
Pretty heavy.
It is.
Well, I think Bob stole both of my thunder that I was going to speak about tonight. The young lady that wrote that article, pretty well I've sort of repeated myself, but I'll go ahead and say what I had down here. I want to thank you so much for this award, and I appreciate it, and I'm very grateful to receive this honor. I've been a member of the College of Business Foundation for 30 years, and it's been a very rewarding experience for me. It has allowed me to the opportunity to meet and work with many of my college alum from previous years, and also the opportunity to support many of the activities of the College of Business. I'd like to especially recognize Dean Lewis Johnson, as he was the Dean of the College of Business when I entered Tennessee Tech in 1951. He was a great mentor to me during my 4 years at Tennessee Tech. After graduating in 1955 with a BS degree in Business Administration and serving 2 years of military service in the U.S. Army Signal Corps, I returned to Tennessee Tech to complete my BS degree in accounting. Upon completion of my accounting degree in 1958, I had the opportunity to buy a 1/2 interest of a small wholesale food service business here in Cookeville. The business consisted of the owner and one delivery driver. I took the records of this company, which had been in business for 1 year, to Dean Lewis Johnson to review and advise me if he thought I should purchase this interest in this small business.
After his review, his reply was that he thought it was a good opportunity, but it would be requiring me a lot of hard work. I told him that I was not afraid of hard work and because I needed a job and had a family to support. Today, after 54 years of the business, IWC business, we employ 185 employees, operate 56 delivery trucks, and sell our products in 65 counties in Tennessee and southern Kentucky. We distribute food and non-food items to schools, hospitals, nursing homes, independent restaurants, prisons, convenience stores, and daycare centers in this area. I'm very proud to be a graduate of Tennessee Tech College of Business and to be a member of the College of Business Foundation, as they have played an important part in the success of my business. I want to thank you once again for this honor and this award. Thank you.
The College of Education, Elois Grooms and Judy Reed Grooms. The college friends often claim common interest in sports, movies, and favorite pizza hangouts, but very few manage to share those ties throughout a 36-year marriage. For Elois and Judy Reed Grooms, athletics and education have been the core of their lives since they began dating as freshmen at Tennessee Tech. Elois played football and Judy was active in intramural sports, and both were education majors. They married in 1977 after years of dates on campus, and their favorite Cookeville hangout, the Gondola Pizza House. They have two daughters, Allison and Meredith. Elois played defense for the Golden Eagle football team from 1972 to 1975. The health and physical education major was drafted in the third round of the 1975 NFL draft and began his professional football career as a defensive lineman with the New Orleans Saints. He also played for the St. Louis Cardinals and the Philadelphia Eagles. He was a native of Tompkinsville, Kentucky. Elois was inducted into the Tennessee Tech Athletics Hall of Fame in 1986. He credits coaches Don Wade, Jack Henderson, Bob Joy, and advisor Dolores Wheatley for their guidance and influence on his education. Judy is a principal at Cope Middle School in Bossier City, Louisiana, and she was named the 2012 Louisiana Middle School Principal of the Year. She's been at the school for 23 years as a teacher, counselor, and administrator. She's been the principal for the past 12 years. I've enjoyed all these positions because being a teacher helped me be a better counselor, and being a counselor helped me become a better administrator, Judy said. Teachers identify with administrators who have been like them in the trenches. I still go to the classroom and teach occasionally to keep current with my students. The breadth of Judy's experience at Tennessee Tech impacted her changing role in education. She has a bachelor's degree in elementary education and a master's degree in elementary guidance and counseling. I had wonderful professors at Tech. Dr. Eleanor Ross was a great teacher and undergraduate advisor, and I enjoyed working for 4 years for Dean Malcolm P. Quillen, she said. I received wonderful career advice from Dr. Rebecca Quattlebaum, who encouraged me to seek my master's degree at Tennessee Tech. New nationwide standards in K-12 education challenge and motivate Judy to stay in touch with her students and prepare for exciting changes in the classroom. As educators, we must model lifelong learning, she said. Today's education majors will be immersed in Common Core state standards, which she is very excited about. So much has changed in the last 10 years, I cannot imagine what future educational changes will take place. Elois is unable to be with us tonight, but at this time I'd like to introduce Judy Grooms.
I'm very excited to be here tonight. It's wonderful to be back in Cookeville. I rarely get to come, although I do come to East Tennessee a lot. My family's there. I want to just say a congratulatory little bit for all of those that are honored here tonight. I've been impressed by everything I've heard. I'm just proud to be part of that group. When I heard what Katie had done, I was so excited to hear those things and to know that that's a part of where we all are. They say you can't go home again, but a little bit of you is at home when you come back to a place that you've been. I want to recognize and give some kudos to 3 ladies that are with me tonight, strong women who've helped me. My mother is here, 39 years in public school for Tennessee before she retired, and my sister-in-law, Paulette Graham Reed, who has been in school nursing and nursing. She is a Crossville native and has moved back to Crossville and catching up with a few friends here that she knows, and my Aunt Jane Goodman, who her husband recently passed away, Bill Goodman, that was a professor at business law at Tennessee Tech. So I just want to say thanks for them for being here too. I've caught up with Dana Winningham, talked a little bit with Otis Phillips, so see you get a chance to come back to this. But what did Tennessee Tech mean for me? I got to tell a little bit about Elois. He's not here. He has a superficial blood clot that has kept him home base, close, sadly to say, and that's about one of the few injuries he's ever had. He played here. What I want to say and make sure that is important to education, and especially to Matthew Smith for the College of Education. If you didn't attend class when you were at Tennessee Tech, they made you run. Coach Wade Phillips would check that, Don Wade, I'm getting his name wrong, would make sure that you attended class. They would come and peep in the doors to see that you were attending, and if you weren't there, you ran. Dolores Wheatley, who was very instrumental for Elois too, was an academic advisor. And what I'm proud to say, and Elois would not say this, he graduated college. He came back after playing his first year with the Saints to student teach here and get his degree, and that's almost unheard of anymore. They don't usually go back and get their degree, but that's what the College of Education prepared him for, and they wanted him to do that through athletics. Otis mentioned what athletics can do. The strong program in that can help many people. Elois would have been one that would never have gone to college had it not been for the opportunity to get to play sports. And at Tennessee Tech, they wanted him to play defense. Other colleges that recruited him wanted him to play tight end, and his high school coach told him, you'll have a better chance of playing sooner, of getting to play more in defense, and he ended up at Tennessee Tech. Well, that was good news because I ended up at Tennessee Tech. And we did get to meet our freshman year, had lots of things that we did as a group, attended many sporting events here. I actually forgot to say in my part, I played basketball here back in the day before scholarships for 2 years for Marinell Metters. And the only thing I can say, I was on the bench most of the time, was one time, my junior year, I got to guard Pat Head Summit. That's my claim to fame, okay? And of course, we all know what she became, after she left. But Tennessee Tech then, in NAIA, before scholarships, we were 5th in the nation 1 year and 7th in the nation 1 year for the 2 years that I played. Then I had to go on to student teach. Dr. Ross, Don Wade, Bob Joy, Jack Henderson, all of those people were instrumental. The College of Education back then with Adele Hearn, we had to take the National Teachers Exam. Back then, I graduated in 75. It was unheard of that was something, they were such visionaries then. Now, after that was required, thank goodness I took it when I could remember all of those things you needed to know. But it was such a vision to think where education was going. Dr. Rebecca Quattlebaum that I mentioned that he talked about, when I sat down with her to think about what to do, I wanted to stay here. Elois was coming back to student teach. I was not stupid, I knew he was coming back, so I wanted to be here. And she mentioned elementary guidance and counseling. Well, that was way before you had elementary guidance counselors. That was important, and a good thing for you to know what visionaries you've had in the years past in the College of Education at Tennessee Tech. I grew up at this university. I came a very wet behind the ears young girl who was from the country and truly learned so many things. My Christian life was strengthened here. All the things that I learned to become in that educational classrooms helped me in making decisions for the future. It prepared me to be able to be a good teacher. And the classroom experience makes a difference. So being prepared was important. It's still important today. Never before in my time can I remember how many changes are going through education. So your College of Education still here at Tennessee Tech. I'm excited about the flight plan. I'm excited about what I've heard in talking with Matthew Smith about what's going on here. Keep it up. Keep it up. It's important to us that you do that as alumni. So we're proud to be, go Eagles, go TTU, and very proud to be here. Thank you again.
The College of Engineering. Chris Privon. The best expression of Chris's appreciation for his mentors is to be part of a challenging future for engineers to succeed. As a Tennessee Tech student, Chris co-opted for a year at Fleet Guard, working with Jack Gill, Jim Morton, Charlie Huddleston, and several other Tennessee Tech alumni. They made time to talk with me and were kind enough to give me projects that pushed and exposed me to the broader Fleet Guard operation. Privon said they were great role models and mentors. The co-op program is one of the best programs at Tennessee Tech, he said. Being a member of the American Society of Mechanical Engineers, faculty encouraged Chris to write and present a major paper at the ASME conference. My professors recognized that I had strong communication and presentation skills, and they encouraged me to connect those abilities to my engineering education. That experience, along with more encouragement and advising from Professor Marie Ventris, motivated Chris's interest in the marketing and business aspects of an engineering education. He graduated magna cum laude with a degree in mechanical engineering from Tennessee Tech, and he earned a master's degree in business administration at the Darden School at the University of Virginia. He joined Hewlett-Packard in Boise, Idaho in 1983 and retired in 2009 as Vice President of Imaging and Printing Group Services. Privon and his wife, Karen, a Tennessee Tech alumni, are serving on strategic planning teams for the Tennessee Tech College of Engineering. He encourages students to take courses in business and non-technical subjects in order to broaden their horizons and find their interests. The college's focus is to equip future engineers to solve societal problems, to become Renaissance engineers, he said. When we inspire students to fix important problems, to learn to talk to people and understand their issues, then they contribute to society in a very fundamental and positive way. Chris is active in the Boise community and serves on numerous boards, including Special Olympics Idaho, the Ora-Ida Boy Scout Council, and Ballet Idaho. He chairs the Stewardship Council at St. Mark's Catholic Church, and he served on the board for the 2009 Special Olympics World Winter Games in Idaho. He is an accomplished woodworker who often offers his woodworking skills for community projects. The Privons have 3 sons and 1 daughter-in-law, George, Peter, Katie, and Chris. So in addition to woodworking, he enjoys golf, skiing, and travel. May I introduce Chris Privon.
Thank you. Bob, thank you very much. That sounds a lot better than it really is, I can assure you. I'd like to thank the Alumni Association, the Selection Committee, Dr. and Mrs. Oldham, and Dean Rensis for this very, very high honor. And I must say that I am
awed with the other alumni that are part of this class tonight, and I feel very, very honored to be standing here. Bob talked a little bit about my family. My sons and daughters-in-law were generous enough to fly in from around the country this morning, met us in Denver and flew in. They're looking pretty tired, but thank you all very much for coming. My mother also came down from Johnson City. My father-in-law and mother-in-law also came down to be with us for this weekend, and it's great having you here. I'd especially like to recognize and thank my wife, Karen, who graduated with an industrial engineering degree here from Tech in 1980. She's been my inspiration, and her support and help in the 35 years that we've been together has been incredibly important and critical to everything I've ever done. And I really see this award as an award that we share together, because I couldn't have done what I did without her. So thank you, Karen. I wrote in my little speech here that we met and we fell in love at Tech, and so I guess dreams really do come true in Cookeville. So tonight is a night about the university. It's a night about the alumni. And I've had the great opportunity through my years at HP to visit a lot of great American universities. And we're all caught up in this crisis that we have with education. The good news is higher education continues to be the standard in the world, and the United States is leading in that standard. I think there's a tremendous role that we as alumni, and the alumni that aren't here tonight, can play in helping this great university get even better. I have two points that I'd like to make from the different universities that I've worked with. I've been on the Purdue Engineering Board. I've been involved with the University of Notre Dame, Boise State, and certainly my alma mater at the University of Virginia. The first one is that I think Tech needs to start acting public and thinking private. The fact that 30% of the funding that's coming to Tech these days to educate a student is coming from the state, 70% is coming from private sources. It's critically important that all of us at Tech, involved with Tech, embrace that and realize how enlightening and opening that is for us to do things differently and to reach out and embrace all of our alumni. The second thing that I learned is that, and this is very true at UVA, about a decade ago they recognized this challenge. The funding they're getting from the state of Virginia is probably around 20 or 25%, and they realized that they needed to become a semi-private, a hybrid organization, hybrid university, if you will. And they reached out to their alumni to help in this situation. And one of the things they concentrated on was working with their current students in developing a culture to make all of their students philanthropists for their university. And they've been highly successful in doing it. I would love to see all of us that are here tonight, and more alumni, frankly, that can work with the Alumni Association, work with the university, and make philanthropists out of all of the current students. One idea I had was that when a graduating student left Tech with their degree, they left to Tech a $100 personal endowment. It's easy enough to set up. You increase fees $50 their junior year or their third year or their fourth year, and they leave with their degree and they give back to Tech a $100 endowment. It gives the organizations an opportunity to reach out to them, to thank them for the work that they've done, and to give them an opportunity to continue to make a contribution to Tech through their personal endowment. I'm extremely excited with the leadership here at Tennessee Tech. I've had the chance to talk to Dr. and Mrs. Oldham a number of times. I'm excited about where they want to take the university. Dean Rensis is working very, very hard to take the College of Engineering up to another level. I think it's tremendous. And whatever you all decide and whatever you think about the future of Tech, especially as we enter into our second century of existence, I ask you to be bold. And I ask you to challenge us alumni that are here tonight, those that are soon to be alumni, and especially those that aren't here. I think we can make a higher contribution to the university. I think we have the opportunity to change the way Tennessee Tech operates. I followed Coach Lou Holtz since his days at Arkansas, and certainly followed him very closely when he was coach at the University of Notre Dame. And I found a very compelling quote that I think sums up the opportunity that I think Tennessee Tech has. And Coach Holtz used to say, "I can't believe that God put us on this earth to be ordinary. There's no reason Tennessee Tech needs to be ordinary. It isn't ordinary, but it can be much greater than it is today." And I hope we as alumni will get behind the deans of our colleges and continue to be behind the deans and the presidents as we go into this next century. So thank you all very much. I'm honored to be part of the Tennessee Tech family. I'm honored by this award tonight. I'm especially honored that all of my family can be here. We can spend a fun weekend together in Cookeville and in Nashville. Thank you very much.
The College of Interdisciplinary Studies. Mike Lane. When the New York Yankees light up the scoreboard in Yankee Stadium, few fans, if any, know the technology behind it. No one understands it like TTU alum Mike Lane and his team of technicians and engineers. Lane grew up in Cookeville and was more interested in computer programming than sports. But the job of Chief Information Officer for the Yankees was a perfect fit. He stays focused on the technical needs of the stadium, from firewalls and network security to wiring and connections for the transporters and the transport providers like ESPN, rather than the action on the field. It's the infrastructure at Yankee Stadium and the team's facilities in Tampa, Florida, that holds Mike's attention. The biggest challenge of my career was to design the infrastructure for the new stadium as a state-of-the-art venue that has to remain state-of-the-art. To maintain that status for a year-round venue, I have to be the intuitive and watch for the latest technologies. Some will be fads, some will be business initiatives, and they will dictate if there's a major change in the infrastructure. You have to watch for technologies that are adaptive to your organization's needs. Lane's venture into supporting Major League Baseball came as a consultant in Tampa. He talked with the general managers to understand program needs. Then he wrote scouting software that soon half of the clubs were using. Lane's early programming experience came while he was a Tennessee Tech student. His first job was at Cardinal Computer, and he worked at Averitt Express in network support. He said, "My career took off because I had great work experience. During college it was tough, but it put me a step ahead of the game," he said. Photography and flying are among Lane's hobbies, both areas he took an interest in as a student at Tennessee Tech. And while here, he worked as a student worker for longtime Tennessee Tech staff photographer Dean Carruthers in photo services. "I always knew I would go to Tennessee Tech. It's the only school I applied to," said Lane. "I'm a bit of a sentimentalist. My family has been in the area for many generations, and it meant a lot to me, for me, to attend college in my hometown." Lane's parents, David and Gay Lane, still reside in the Cookeville area, as do his grandparents, Charles and Mary Frances Carter. Mike and his wife Christy have 2 children, Nicholas and Emma. May I introduce Mike Lane.
Wow, this is nice. This is very special. It doesn't fit up there. That's why everybody uses behind it. So, I've always treasured the time that I've spent at Tennessee Tech. Through the time I've spent on campus, the time working at Photographic Services, the many people I was able to meet, the ones that I still call friends today. And it's always held a very special place in my heart. And this is a very special award, and I'm very honored to get it. So thank you very much. I was asked by a couple of people, are there any Yankee stories you could tell, or any antics or anything you could share with the crowd? All right, I'm going to pull one out of the hat, only one that a couple of people actually know, so what's a couple hundred more, right? So I started working for the Yankees in Tampa, Florida in 2006. As Bob said, I was a programmer at a consulting company before that. I left a position as a vice president of development to go work as a programmer for the Yankees. It's okay, it worked out. So I'm working for the Yankees, and I start in April of 2006. Well, the amateur draft comes around June every year. Now, for those of you who don't know, the amateur draft in the world of baseball is where Major League Baseball teams get together, all 30 clubs, they'll draft, they'll draft players from high school and college into their farm system to play for their minor leagues to one day hope to be, Major League Baseball players. Teams put millions of dollars into this effort. It's a very big deal. Every little T needs to be crossed, every I needs to be dotted. So as a programmer, trying to prove myself as my first days in the Yankees, I come up with this great program that would collect all this data. You just needed some data entry assistance. It was all fine. It was a great idea, if I do say so myself, and I set it all up. So the first day of the draft, everybody's in there. Everybody's busy. This was actually 2006. George Steinbrenner, which passed away in 2010, was still a very active part of the team. This was the time that he was still into every department, and he was still looking at every little thing that went on. So I have everything set up, computer's ready, and I'm just okay, who's going to be doing this? They said, okay, we're really busy, can you just handle this? Well, at that time they could have said, would you dig a swimming pool in the back with a spoon? I said, sure, got it. So here I go. So I'm in this knowing that it's a job for a couple of people, but I'm visibly busy during the draft. So it's such a high-paced speed going through there, and I can see out of the corner of my eye, Mr. Steinbrenner looking, he can tell that I'm very busy because it's, trying to enter in tons of data within just seconds between each draft pick. So finally we have a break. 15 minutes, take care of a few things, eat a sandwich, get back, prepare for the thing. So I'm running through the corridor, I swing open the door, and about this far from the leading edge of the door stood Mr. Steinbrenner walking the opposite direction. So this is my story of I came this close to not being here right now. So thank you very much. This is a true honor. Thank you very much.
And congratulations again to all of our distinguished Tennessee Tech alum. Tracy, it's all yours.
Thanks again to Bob Luna. What a great extra effect you added to the evening. We love that the Golden Eagle Marching Band voice. So we appreciate it. Thanks, Bob. Let's give him a round of applause. And once again, another round of applause for all our recipients. Please feel free to stay and socialize more. I know a lot of you got to talk beforehand, but there's so many people to see, so don't be in a hurry to leave. But otherwise, thank you very much for attending. Be safe, and we hope to see you again at future events. Thank you. Could I have all the honorees up front for just a second? We want to get a group picture.